to another JayMac Snack. This time we're going to answer some very important questions as we are now getting to know a little bit better who our next president is going to be and what are some of his core beliefs and actions. And a lot of people believe that he's going to set out to defund the police, that he's going to issue all of these executive orders to take away your guns. And he's actually talked about both things in the last week, so I wanted to share with you what he has said so far. Now, as I said, this was one of the claims that the right used against the left, that they wanted to defund all of the police. And that turned out to be a really, really great tactic on the part of conservatives and Republicans, because apparently a lot of people bought it, and President-elect Biden is saying that it was used against them very successfully.
They've already labeled us as being defund the police. Anything we put forward in terms of the organizational structure to change policing, which I promise you will occur, promise you. Just think to yourself and give me advice whether we should do that before January 5th, because that's how they beat the living hell out of us across the country, saying that we're talking about defunding the police. We're not. We're talking about holding them accountable.
Now, he clearly admits in that audio that he is planning on introducing some type of legislation to restructure police or hold police accountable. If you're wondering, this was on a not for public consumption conference call where the president-elect was seeking advice from his different constituencies. That's why you hear him asking for advice. One of the reasons why I wanted to play this for you is because a lot of people feel like there was this blue wave during the 2020 election. And it's just not true. There was a blue wave for Joe Biden. But even Joe Biden is admitting that on the down ballot candidates, there was actually a red wave. A considerable red wave. And people on the left are saying it was because of words or phrases such as socialism, Black Lives Matter, and defund the police. And here Joe Biden is admitting that and saying we got to stop using this type of terminology because we're getting killed by it. So I thought that that was very important and a very important acknowledgement and a reminder to those of us on the right. If you are so petrified about a Joe Biden presidency, I don't think you need to be. If you think that this country is diving into socialism, I don't think that that's the case. I think that this election in so many ways was actually a repudiation of socialism and defund the police, and so many of these movements. So you're going to see Joe Biden try and toe a moderate line because he sees what the election taught him. So I believe he's going to stay away from those types of things as much as he possibly can. Now, one of the other things that came up on this conference call had to do with executive orders. Somebody on the conference call said, you need to use your executive orders so that you can get a lot of these things done. And lo and behold, President-elect Biden started repeating words that I had said out on the campaign trail, and many of us have been saying on both sides of the aisle for a long time. And that is, there's a thing called the Constitution. And that pesky little thing called the Constitution has checks and balances, and you can't just executive order your way out of everything. Listen to what he said.
On day one, I'm going to executive order to do this. Not within the constitutional authority. I am not going to violate the Constitution. There is a Constitution. It's our only hope. Our only hope. And the way to deal with it is where I have executive authority, I will use it to undo every single damn thing this guy has done by executive authority. But I'm not going to exercise executive authority where it's questioned, where I can come along and say, I can do away with assault weapons. There's no executive authority to do away with that. And no one's fought harder to get rid of assault weapons than me. But you can't do it by executive order. You do that, next guy comes along and says, well, guess what? By executive order, I'm going to say everybody can own machine guns again.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that interesting? Joe Biden talking about the Constitution and executive orders and making the incredibly valid point that executive orders are only as good as the current president in office. And the minute they're replaced, those executive orders get overturned, and then we end up on like a boomerang going back and forth. And it's really just the worst way to govern. Now, it's one thing for him to say that before he takes office. We'll see if he is true to his word. But I thought these were two very interesting commentaries. One acknowledging that there was a red wave in this country and a repudiation of socialism and defund the police, and that executive orders are not the way to go. The legislature is supposed to pass laws, not the president. And so hopefully we'll have a president who holds true to what he says right now. Wouldn't that be nice? And wouldn't it be nice if you would take a minute and scan the QR code that you see on the screen? One is for a monthly donation to this podcast. The other is for a one-time donation. If you like the information that I've been bringing to you, please help me continue to do so. Or just click on the link in the podcast description or wherever you're watching or listening to this video. With that, have a wonderful day.